I met my next guest just last week when I went down to McNulty's in Marbella to meet up with Virginia McCary and Jenna Callahan and Pedro from Ensenada to Andalusia at McNulty's to discuss the opportunities that we can create for the youngsters who are coming of age and being literally evicted from the orphanages in Malaga. There's 64 kids this year in Andalusia that need to find homes and jobs. So we really do hope that we all get on board with this. But while I was there, I met Ankita. She's from India. She had recently held a Diwali festival, the Festival of Lights. I've seen the video. It was quite charming. I'm really disappointed that I didn't get to know about it. But that's the thing in Marbella, hard to know all the great things that are going on, which is why it's nice to keep up with everything through the TV shows, the different associations. So do keep your eyes and ears open. Ankita not only organised a Festival of Lights, a Diwali celebration representing her country, which is great, one of the 147 nationalities on our town census, but she's started a beautiful charity. The concept is heartwarming, and I'm sure that our international community is going to jump on board. Ankita, welcome to the programme.
Thank you very much, Nicole.
I was delighted to meet you the other day. You have such a natural peace about you, and yet you have an energy and a force that is to be reckoned with. So make no mistake, very quiet, very beautiful, very demure, but you're a woman with passion. You have a strong vision of what you want to achieve.
Yeah, I sure do, yeah. Well, that's because this thing is very close to my heart. This topic is very close to my heart. I've always wanted to do something for women and children. When I was in India, when I started earning, because I come from a very small town in India, and I did not get enough opportunities. Well, I got enough opportunities because my parents were well off. But a lot of girls still do not get that opportunity to be where I am. I'm really grateful to my parents that I'm here where I am. But they don't have schools. I was sent to a boarding school when I was 5 years old because there were no schools over there. So if I can contribute to that society in any way possible, that is what I want to do. And most of the kids, you know, the kids who live on the streets, there's so many people you will not believe who are living on the streets. And, you know, every 5 minutes, so many children dying out of hunger, and which is something I want to help, you know. So when I started earning, I started giving a part of my income I used to go out, buy gifts, because I was brought up in a Christian missionary school. So I was very excited about Christmas. Getting out of that boarding school, I did not celebrate Christmas because in India we don't celebrate Christmas that much. So I started buying gifts, wrapping them in a gift wrapping paper, and then I used to go out at night, 24th December, and then distribute it to them. And the kind of response that I got, you know, these small little children, tiny little feet walking on the streets, you know, 2 degrees, very cold in Delhi, and they don't have things to wear, they don't have anything to, you know, cover their bodies, nothing, not even food to eat. So when we started doing this, the response that I got was overwhelming. The mothers were crying because obviously these kids have never seen a gift wrapped in a gift paper. Yeah, well, people come and gift them something sometimes, you know, but not something, you know, with emotional value. So the mothers were crying, and, you know, we also we have an organization in India called SDS, where we try and do charity as well. So with them as well, we were trying to do all of this and trying to do drugs, because a lot of people on the streets are using drugs. So we went campaigning, you know, like, why stop doing this? And the kind of response that we got was, because these mothers, they said, you know, what do we do? Because our children, they're hungry at night. I have to drug them a little bit so they can sleep. How will they sleep with hunger? So that is the kind of poverty. If you look at poverty through my eyes, there is no poverty here.
I can't even begin to imagine what it's like. And I can't understand why, the way we are in the world, with the billions we spend on war, that this is even possible. But let's put that aside. We can't change the world, but we can change the world we live in. Yeah. And this world is very close to you.
Yeah.
So what can we do as the general public in Marbella to help you at least advance your mission and to feel that you're not alone?
I have an organization. I've just started a project called Gurukul India. So there's a website called www.gurukulindia.es where if anybody wants to donate, they can go on the events section and there's a link where they can donate. Or I'm also doing a Bollywood night on 3rd of December in Ushna Yoga Studio. So anybody can come there, donate. You know, we have a dance, we'll dance. You know, some people lose weight, somebody gets helped. It's a win-win for everybody.
And when you get the funds in, what do you do with those funds from here?
Well, we send it directly to the retailers in the shop, you know, in India. So the place where, because I have my sister, I have everybody over there. So the money goes directly. It doesn't go to anybody else, any organization or anybody. It goes directly to the shop so that, you know, and the whatever amount reaches there, we take that amount of shoes and blankets and sweaters from them, and then we wrap them up, and then we go out on the streets and distribute it on 24th night.
Fabulous. The way you were talking, you said that to get a pair of shoes is what, $5 for a child to have a pair of shoes?
Yeah.
So in the sense, for us, a coffee in Puerto Banús,
Yeah.
and a child has shoes, they can protect their feet. It is that simple.
Yeah.
So even a €5 donation,
yeah.
anything, it doesn't have to be big money. It's just lots of people doing a little can be very, very significant.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
It's funny when, not funny, again, I say it's funny, but for me, I also, when people give me bad news, I tend to laugh. It's nervous reaction in the sense some things are just too horrific to take them at face value. You have to kind of put something around it. But I remember as a child going to the cinema to see a Patrick Swayze movie, and he was, I think, maybe a doctor in India, and I left. It was too sad. It was too real. And then thanks to Slumdog Millionaire and Danny Boyle and the colour that he used, somehow I managed to get the beauty of you and the people and the love and the spices and the exoticness and the specialness of the people, but at the same time, the crude reality of how children live in squalor and horror, and yet somehow they just absorb it into their day-to-day. It becomes normal.
Yeah.
And that is what is horrifying, that
Yeah.
this can be normalized.
Yeah, it is. But, you know, being here, I fell in love with Marbella when I came here, you know, and living here now, I don't want to go back to India, but I also want to go back to India. I don't want to leave Marbella, but what do I do? Which is why I got Gurukul India here, you know. It's a little bit of Indian culture that I want to get, especially the ancient wisdom that we had, you know, from 4,000, 6,000 years ago, what they were teaching. You know, we have 114 different kinds of meditations. You know, yoga that they're doing here today is more like gymnastics, you know, but the yoga that connects you with you, you know, the connection, the spiritual connection that you're supposed to have, you know, the thing that's missing, I see that missing in Marbella, which is why, you know, Gurukul India, I'm trying to bring all of that, you know, what food we should mix, or, you know, what food shouldn't be mixed together, you know. It's like prevention is better than cure. So live a lifestyle so that you don't have to go to the doctors anymore.
Very wise words, and I think a lot of us forget that. We wouldn't put Coca-Cola in our plants, and yet we drink it like it's the most normal thing. We don't use our logic when it comes to looking after ourselves. So this is something as Gurukul, does that mean something particularly?
Yes, Gurukul was an ancient education system that we had in India before the British and the Arabs came in. So it's basically a holistic school of education that we had, where you would be taught back in the day, well, 4,000 years ago, you would be taught about, you know, archery and martial arts and science, and because surgery is something that was invented long back, 4,000 years ago. The father of surgery is Srishutra, which is he's done, like, when this happened, I'm talking about 4,000 years ago, when this was happening, there was a proper civilization in India, and Europe was still, you know, coming
in
out
nappies.
Coming out of
Not
Stone
even
Age.
nappies, yeah.
We still people living in caves, going to Bronze Age, you know. So trying to bring all of that wisdom through that, and Gurukul was something where it's like a university, let's say, where people would go, live there, learn from the gurus over there. Guru has become a very derogatory word today, you know, because of, you know, certain people. But it meant anybody from whom you can learn. Anybody who drives you from ignorance to light is a guru.
And this is something that you also do. It's not just about the charity. You also do meditations and teach people how to get more in touch with themselves.
Yes. Yeah. So different kinds of meditations that we have, we're still developing courses and everything, because meditation is something that is not organized in around the world yet. Yoga is a little organized, but meditation is something that is still not organized. So we're trying to get that together, you know, basic levels. There's a difference between meditation, concentration, and you know, living in the moment. So people tend to confuse between, you know, what is concentration and what is meditation. Looking at something is just concentration. You know, when you close your eyes and try and, you know, think of something, it's concentration. You first have to gather your mind in one place and then go to a different level, you know, then meditate. So trying to explain, you know, what we were taught back in the day. I've learned everything from my grandmother and my grandparents, basically. My grandmother passed away last year, unfortunately, at 107.
Wow. So obviously what you've got to share works.
Yeah, yeah, because she is 107 years old and she was absolutely fine. Like, she had no trouble whatsoever. She was walking, eating, doing everything by herself.
So obviously Anketa knows exactly what she's talking about. We have to finish. I can't believe the time's flown by. But just to finish off, I would love you to share with our viewers something you said to the young boys the other day. There's only two people we need to impress in life.
Yeah, there's only two people we need to impress in life. Your 80-year-old self and your 80-year-old self. If those two people are happy, you're doing everything right.
I like that one. Amen to that. Anketa, thank you so much. See you at the event, and then obviously Anketa will be joining us back in the show, because we'll be keeping up with all the different things that she's doing since she's arrived in Marbella. And already with such good company with Jenna, Virginia Macari, Bob, there is all happening.
Yeah.
We meet the right people at the right time.
That's true.
Everything falls into place.
That's true.
And with that said, after the break, my next guest is Karin Palmqvist. I'm Bomb Palmqvist. She was ambassador of Sweden when I met her. She's all over the world. She now sends students from Sweden all over the world. And I'm delighted she's back in Marbella and taken the time to pop into the studio. So stay tuned. Back in a moment.